Well, I'm Bob Seidel, the president of the SMPTE for the next 2 years, and I'd just like to welcome you to our annual membership meeting. This year we've made a number of major initiatives, and one of them was combining with the Hollywood Post Alliance and joining really a user group with us tool makers and technologists. So we've tried to bring these two organizations together for the betterment of the entire industry, and I think it's been a great success so far. It's been a just pleasure working with all the members of the HPA and working out all the details, but it has taken us about a year to integrate everything, and a lot of it is due to our executive director, Barbara Lang. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Barbara.
I know it's a long day after several long days, but I'm glad you're here. This is our obligation as a nonprofit 501c3 organization. We're obliged to hold an annual general membership meeting to give you an update on the state of the society, of your society. So hopefully this will be also a little bit entertaining. But before I go into the general topics of the society, I wanted to talk a little bit just about this conference. I've said this on several occasions. You're probably attending the largest event of SMPTE's since 9/11, we think. So probably 15 years, this conference and exhibition and everything wrapped up is the largest one that we have on record. From the number of papers, we had double the number of papers submitted that we could accommodate, and we're dealing with all those wonderful extra papers. We've had, as you probably noticed, I hope, we had almost 100 exhibitors here between those up here in the ballroom and those over in the satellite space, as I like to call it. We had the VR demo space next door on Monday, complementing the VR symposium day. Registrations are up significantly. It looks like this morning we were tracking at 2,300 registrants. Amazing. And just to give you context, normally registration is around 1,700. So that's a pretty significant change, and I hope you noticed it with a lot more people about. Our sponsors have been terrific. We've had really wonderful support from so many organizations to help make everything just a little bit better, and I hope you can appreciate that. On Monday, we had a Women in Post luncheon with Cheryl Boone Isaacs, president of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, which was delightful, with Carolyn Giardina. We also did an Oktoberfest over at our satellite exhibit hall. We had the opening night reception last night, and we had the Student Film Festival last night. I'm not getting much sleep while I'm here. Tonight we have the Tech Emmys who co-locate with us, which we really appreciate, and tomorrow night is the SMPTE Honors and Awards, which I hope you'll all plan to come to. You must have a ticket, but I do hope you'll plan to come because it's a wonderful opportunity to recognize so many people. This year we have already elevated 15 members to fellow. And we will be honoring about 40 plus others tomorrow all together, and it's going to be an exciting show, a whole new format, and we're very excited about it. So I do hope that you'll plan on attending and recognizing your colleagues. And at the end, we get to relax with the SMPTE Jam Band, and that's always a lot of fun. So your colleagues who are serious during the day get to relax and unwind a little bit with the jam. And so I want to thank you because this event takes a lot of effort on so many parts. The volunteers who program, who help us with the exhibits, who help us with the sponsorship gathering, our local arrangements committees who are just dynamite and organize everything, Dick and Henry, and of course our staff, which I'm really proud of, all the dedication that they put into this. So I want to personally thank everyone. And of course, next year is the big one, so if it's big this year, I can only imagine what next year is going to be like. So with that, I'm going to step into, those are some of the highlights of some of the images that I was able to capture, not mine, but from our friend Ryan there, who does a crack job. And last night, so we did have our HPA SMPTE Student Film Festival, and how many of you were able to attend that? Great, great. Well, we hope this really turns into a fine and growing event. It's the first product of our relationship with the HPA, and it really does help us bring together the creativity and the technical. And the reaction to this was really phenomenal. Numbers are one thing. We did get 25 submissions. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider the submissions came from all over the world, from Hong Kong, from Australia, from Dubai, from Saudi Arabia, from the UK, from Canada, from the US. That's amazing. And these students they learned a process. Where's Richard Welsh? Shout out to Richard. I saw him. There he is. And helped them out a lot. It was a learning experience probably for you too, in what is involved with trying to get your content into the DCP format. But I think it was amazing, and I'll mention two things. One is a young lady from New York who arrived yesterday at 5 p.m. and had a 30-second short in the festival, and she left this morning at 6 a.m. Her first trip to LA, and she did it just to show her 30-second short. So I think that's really phenomenal. And these young people from Brooklyn who did achieve the best in show, because we had an opportunity for the audience to vote. Those kids, I think 7 of the 9 were here, did an online crowdfunding campaign to raise the money to get themselves here. So there's a lot of dedication out there, and I think programs like this are really great for SMPTE and HPA to attract this new, younger audience. So speaking of, and those are the highlights from last night. And I should point out this young lady here on the left, that's John Maisels and Paul Broderick. And the young lady who is virtually here is the Australian filmmaker. And John Maisels had her on, I guess, Skype, or what was it, Skype? And she was able to participate virtually, and so that was a lot of fun. So thanks, John, for bringing her to LA virtually. So this is, as Bob mentioned, a really new thing. The HPA and SMPTE are as of basically one more week, I think, of filing with the state of California, formally organized as an aligned partnership. And we're really excited about it. You can start seeing integrations between the two groups in terms of different activities that we're working on. The film festival being one. SMPTE staff will help in producing the tech retreat and doing some of the logistics that are related to that. I also want to mention a couple of things that are happening more short term. November 12th is the HPA Awards program, and that will be held here in Los Angeles at the Skirball Cultural Center. And Leon Silverman is being honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award. And so if you have an interest, it's a really nice affair. I would encourage you to buy a ticket and attend and celebrate Leon and so many others who are receiving awards. The tech retreat is right around the corner. Many of you might be attending it, planning to attend. Maybe you want to put up a paper. Mark Shubin is closing the door on paper submissions on Friday, so you have a few more days to busy yourself and submit for papers, and then that will close. Registration for the tech retreat will open on the 18th of November, and you will surely be getting notifications about that. So we will continue integrating together and working on projects together, and I think it will be a very lovely marriage, as we've been using that metaphor all along the way. So we're really excited about it and working together. I'm going to talk a little bit about the 3 pillars now. So that's good old Ken Fuller doing the Instagram. Another highlight this year is that our membership has grown 5% over last year this time, so we're at about 6,300 members, and that's really a statement of, you know, we hear a lot that people don't join groups anymore, and you know, the concept of an association is no longer really that important with everything on the internet. But I think this is a statement that it does matter, and that people want to come together, people want to meet and greet. It's fine to do it virtually, but there's nothing like doing it in person. Our sections are really growing and creating that local energy, and obviously you're all here because you're part of this organization in one way or another. So this is really exciting. I think I said a couple of years ago I'd like to reach 10,000 by 2016. I think we have a little ways to go, but you know, Roberta is working hard, and a shout out to Roberta really for all the hard work that she does. Let's see. Oh, and I also wanted to mention these, what do all these fine brands have in common, including that very last one? They're diamond level members of SMPTE. If I do my math right, I think there's 17 or 18 of them in there. At the beginning of the year, there were 11. I think it's a statement of a lot of things happening in the industry, a lot of standards work that's really exciting and dynamic, and I think it's also about one thing feeds onto another, and so I think people are feeling the love and want to join. So we're really excited about all their successes, their interest. Speaking of successes, the UK section I want to call out, and I saw Peter Weitzel and Chris Johns, there they are. And Richard over there. Just want to highlight, and John Ellerton. So the UK section, I think I have these figures about right, but I know Peter will correct me. Back in 2012 when it was formed, it was below 100, and they're at 481 in 3 years. And they're pushing for 500, I know. So this is your team. I didn't have a picture of Chris. Sorry? It's the and it's really is, you know, this is it takes that personal touch, and the whole UK section board of managers have just been doing great things there. I've had the pleasure of being over there on many occasions, and congrats to you guys, and I hope you get to 500 by Friday. A little bit about education. So this is your conference. I don't know which session exactly it was. Maybe it was I think this was the VR session. Great attendance, and I also wanted to do a shout out to our friends at IMAX. Patricia and David Keeley hosted a group of students on Monday. I don't know how many students came, about 36 students came, and they got to visit the IMAX facility over in Playa Vista, a beautiful facility. I had the pleasure of visiting a few months ago, and this is a great photograph, and I think really is a way to give back to the students. The few that I spoke with were just over the moon to have that opportunity to go, and so I thank you, Patricia and David, for helping out in our education pillar. Thank you. And we're educating more people. Doing the numbers, we're educating more than 1,300 individuals on the webcast that Joel Welch puts together and Amy Ricca tells everybody about. So shout out to them for their good work. We are educating students through our online virtual courses, and we've added to our CCNA course. We're doing courses on UHD and network media, and Wes Simpson helps us out with network media, and Paul Briscoe helps us out with UHD, so a lot of good support from many, and then conferences. I list a few that we have some connection with. HPA Tech Retreat, of course, the Technology Summit on Cinema at NAB, with Rich Welch being the chair this year, coming up for next year. We did a forum in Berlin this year, taking our European perspective of entertainment technology. We continue with our entertainment technology in the Internet Age conference that we locate at Stanford, and we will, looks like we'll be repeating that next year again. IBC, of course, we place a lot of papers and speakers at IBC at the various conference sessions. This ATC and CCW is another event that we're getting much more involved with. That's it's an NAB event now in New York in a couple weeks' time, and Bob is actually chairing a session there. So a lot of opportunity for education, and then of course there's the journal that you all receive. Oh, I think I wanted to roll the tape.
Things tend to move so quickly in this industry, you have to always continue to educate yourself, whether you're new to the industry or if you're old to the industry. And SMPTE, through things like the journal, through their section meetings, and through the standards process and their help and ability to work for young students to get involved, really does a great job at educating both the industry and the members at large.
So throughout my career, I can always be finding out about the industry and making sure that my view is a wide one.
SMPTE also offers a set of webinars which are able to be seen by people around the world. And in that virtual world, you have got a form of meeting in which you can interact with your colleagues.
I particularly like the webinars because they do actually take you into something perhaps which is a little bit more in-depth than you already know, and they are available offline.
SMPTE website has got a collection of old journals right from the day one from 1916. So you can actually access any of the journals to find out how the technology has progressed over the years.
So we take advantage of the journal in particular. Each journal has a theme, and the subjects discussed are in-depth, very technical, deep level, but written in an independent, non-company specific way.
Well, I think probably one of our biggest education products are our conferences and seminars. Our annual conference is a papers conference. It's multi-day. We have many sessions on the hot topics in the industry, mainly for practitioners at the technical level, but increasingly with some of our relationships with the Hollywood Post Alliance, which is more on the creative side, we're looking to expand some of our programs to include the creative elements. We have a conference in cooperation with the National Association of Broadcasters during their show in April, which we call a Technology Summit on Cinema, where we look at the latest trends in cinema technology. Another initiative we have in conferences, given the growth of the internet, is a program called Internet Technology in the Internet Age. We hold it in Silicon Valley, actually in the last couple of years at Stanford University. The idea is to merge the two worlds of internet technology providers with entertainment providers in Hollywood to look at how the two can collaborate going forward.
We aim to keep our employees up to date with training of various different forms, and the SMPTE ones are indeed important to us as training goes. So the idea that they were bringing more people into industry and giving them an education over and above what they might receive at university, we also see as a critical aspect of the SMPTE and justifies our contribution and our sustaining membership.
We provide a forum for gathering information from the people who are, the professionals who are developing that work, doing the research, coming up with the engineering innovations, and sharing that knowledge among the membership.
But it's not only technological, it is also creative, because at the end of the day, content making and technology, they have to meet to each other. And this is all covered in the educational programs through webinars, through conferences, through special section activities.
This industry resolves itself around passing on the knowledge to a younger generation that has to come in and take over.
As a SMPTE board member, I appreciate being able to help increase the number of people who actually pass the SMPTE. And the reason is that I think it's really useful for everybody in the industry to learn.
So that was shot at IBC, as you might have noticed. And that young man at the end is on the UK section board, and he was wearing a flight suit. And I apologize to my friends down under. I neglected to list the Australia section's biannual event in my remarks, so apologies for that. It was a great event that they held in July. They moved to a new old facility because the convention center in Sydney was being torn down. So they had to make do in another facility, but it was a fine event and a very important one in that part of the world. So standards, of course, you all know standards. That's why many of you are involved with SMPTE. These are the standards committees meeting face-to-face. The first one up there on the right is in Sydney, and the one on the left is in Paris. Somehow Paris gets a little more attention than Sydney. I don't know why. So don't be bitter, John. So some new news. Of course, it was mentioned earlier this week, the HDR study group released its report, which is already getting a lot of attention. Yay, Thomas Edwards. Many people working on that program, and of course, all the rage in all parts of the industry. So very important that SMPTE is there to talk about it and to make recommendations for the next step. This year, it looks like we'll be publishing more than 50 documents in standards. That's a lot. When I first arrived at SMPTE, it was maybe 20 to 30. So that just is the pace of change has picked up so much that they're being very prolific in creating these documents, and very important. And we have more participants than in recent years. I think there are over 700 people registered in the standards community. Of course, not everybody participates at the same level, but there are over 160 active working committees. So that's a lot to manage. And a shout out to Peter and Mauricio and Alan Lamshed and all the people who help make that standards program work. So thank you for that. And the results of that work is that we will be adding another Emmy to the SMPTE Showcase. So it's coming in January for standardization and pioneering development for non-live broadband captioning, and we're sharing it together with Telestream, W3C, HBO, Netflix, and I think others. That is the group. I think I forgot to take others off. So, so a really nice group to be associated with, and a real great honor for the organization. And as you've seen, perhaps over here, the showcase with the gold in it, it does have a lot of attraction just to see what it is. And but it does mean a lot that your organization is being recognized for that work. So congratulations to everybody involved in that too. So what else is new? We just recently joined together as a nonprofit member of the DPP, which is the Digital Production Partnership in the UK, and it's an organization that's helping to normalize, if that's the right word, workflows, and we think that's a nice connection to the work that SMPTE does, and so we're very much looking forward to our participation in that. The other thing that we're excited about, you may have seen the booth next to Roberta's membership booth is the IEEE. We've just moved our digital library. It happened last weekend. Crazy time to do it, I know. But we did it, and with just a few little things missing that are coming soon, we're really delighted to be on the IEEE platform. It's a state-of-the-art system. It understands standards and has a great deal of functionality, and integrates with the IEEE content as well. So we're really excited about that, and I hope you all take advantage of that with your membership. So that brings me to the centennial, and of course we've mentioned this several occasions. It's a really exciting time. There are many activities going on, the first one being our fundraising activity, and Mary Vinton, who is new, relatively new, although not so relatively new anymore, right? There she is, Mary. Joined us as fundraiser and has done a great job. Last year when we launched the campaign, Disney, Panasonic, and Dolby made contributions of $1 million, and we've already had the benefit of some of that funding already coming. So it's one thing to get the commitments, it's another to actually get the money. And we are getting the money, which is very nice. And Technicolor came in earlier this year with a pledge, and just yesterday we recognized Ross Video, we recognized Michelle Munson and Aspera, we recognized our own Wendy Aylesworth, as well as Bill Miller for their contributions. And at the very end, we learned that Avid was also joining our list. So altogether, this will represent about $1.7 million. And that money is being used to invest in your society. It's being invested to extend and deepen our relationship in membership so that we can attract younger people in more diverse areas of the world and more diverse technologies. It's there to deeply integrate into our standards pillar to improve our infrastructure, to help us produce standards that people are very interested in and then make them more widely available, and all the things that go with that, including more modern test materials. And it's there to build out our educational services. We've learned over the years there are many more things that we ought to be doing, and this investment will allow us to reach those goals. So I thank you very much. We are targeting a fund of $4 million. So we have a bit to go, but very much appreciated. And if you feel the love, then maybe you too will make a donation. So certainly look forward to talking to you about that if you like. This is a picture from the Australia section meeting in July. They had a very large, big banner, and that was essentially kicking off the centennial. And so you will begin seeing much more about the centennial as we march through 2016 and lead into October 28th, 2016. Mark that on your calendars now, because we are planning a really beautiful gala, black tie, red carpet affair, a true experience and celebration of your society. So please do put that on your calendars, and you'll be seeing a lot more in the meanwhile. One of the things that we're producing is a book. This is a book called Magic and Miracles, 100 Years of Moving Image and Sound, Science and Technology. I think we have to, I've been told we should add sound to more of our discussion. We are working with Phil Cianci and our Board of Editors, some participants from the Board of Editors. I've seen the bits and pieces of it. By the end of the year, I'll see the first actual designed piece. It's very exciting. It's really full of historical references and tidbits. It's just a marvelous piece. We are pre-selling it here during the show. You can pre-order it, and I'm sure you will treasure it when you do get it. Our plan is to publish it in time for the centennial next year in October, and we are definitely on that path. So if you're interested, you can see Roberta back at the membership booth. So for those of you who, before I go into this, the movie, we tried to do the movie, as many of you know, but funding was a bit sparse, so we did a trailer. We are using this, and as I may have mentioned yesterday, we're hoping that it will spark somebody to perhaps invest in the documentary. We feel very strongly that the monies we're raising for the Centennial campaign are used for 3 pillars and not to produce a movie. So those monies are being used for our operating and investment activities, and so we're still looking for somebody who might be interested in funding a documentary. Angel investor, they call that, yes. But before I go into to leave with the video, I do want to thank several people. I want to thank the staff. If I could ask the staff to stand up, please. They do a great job. And there are, I think, 4 others back home in White Plains who don't have the opportunity. I think they're happy maybe that they're not here. But I couldn't be prouder of the staff and the work that they do and the dedication that they show, and they're really wonderful. And of course, our esteemed board of directors, could I ask the board of directors who are here to stand and be recognized? They give us great guidance and a lot of fun and a lot of challenges and help drive this organization, your organization, forward. So, and I thank you all for coming and for participating. We'll leave with the video, and I thank you very much for coming, and I hope to see you tomorrow evening, and I hope you have a great last day of the conference. Thank you very much.
I like to call myself an engineer and explainer. And in this truck, I am the engineer in charge of the Metropolitan Opera live in HD, which is transmitted live to movie theaters around the world. Today we think of movies as being the giant screen and television being the little screen, but the first Edison movies were little screen. It was individual viewing into a kinetograph.
I think it was pretty obvious that film was a way to document what was going on, was a way to analyze what was happening as a war was approaching. Well, how can you do this when you go out with one camera and shoot a scene, I go out with another camera, shoot the same scene, come back, splice those two things together, and it won't work because our standards are different. Hubbard, who was secretary of the Standards Committee, the Government Standards Committee at the time, said, either you get it together and develop common standards, or the government will adopt common standards. Jenkins was afraid, and they were all afraid a little bit. If we get together and start sharing these ideas, what's going to happen to my own ideas? So he called a very small group of people together, and they met, and SMPTE was organized.
So SMPTE is a professional membership association bringing people together who are interested in this technology and want to see it advance. But it's also very important in setting standards for the industry to enable interoperability along the workflow of the systems from camera acquisition to display. So I think our challenge is to remain relevant into this new world that is primarily internet driven, and to continue to
be the place where people turn to for this technical knowledge and information.
I'm not a technology guy, but going to film school and everything, I knew animation, I knew visual effects, I knew, camera. I knew all the technology involved in making movies at that time. So I took the money that I made from American Graffiti and we built up a small visual effects facility to try to figure out how to actually accomplish these shots. And in the end, what we did do, the Dijksterflex, was build a camera that is as precision as an animation camera, but it's designed to shoot models instead of something on a flat plane. It was a lot of work, a lot of investment. John's invention of the Dijksterflex made the film work. Without that, I don't know what I'd have done.
And that's a wrap on everybody else.
Thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a good evening. That's it. That's a wrap. Thank you very much.